Hey there riders, Moto Journo Kris here today. I wanted to talk ergonomics, ride height and general rideability of the new KLR650. Now these are a LAMS legal machine, which means that anyone can ride them here in Australia, even if you've just got your license. And part of the changes for the updated model is a lower seat height. They've dropped it by 20 mil, which makes it far more accessible for shorter riders. But with an 870mm seat height, it is still a fairly tall machine, but that is typical of the adventure bikes. Now, as far as general features which are going to help the overall ergonomic, it does have a fair bit of wind protection. It has this nice screen as well, which can be adjusted in 2 positions. It's got hand guards. It does not have adjustable levers. You'll have to invest in that yourself if you find the reach of those levers not ideal. And it is a heavy bike. It's 222 kilos in this form, in the adventure form with the extras, or 210. So if you're worried about the weight of the bike, that is a definite consideration with this machine. However, I think while it's an agricultural machine in many ways, it's also a very utilitarian and a very capable machine. So let's have a look at the seat height, because obviously that's going to be one of the big things that people are looking at. I'm 180 centimeters, I'm a 32-inch inseam. I can reach the ground on both sides, and I can get both feet down flat very easily. So as you can see here, it's a nice and upright seating position. You've got a very commanding view down the road. It's a very neutral seating position as well. The bars are quite wide, which means that your inputs kind of get magnified, but it makes it an easy bike to control. And certainly while it's a very heavy bike to push around, once you're moving, it is a very easy bike to ride. Very, very, very easy, really, particularly for the weight, which tends to be the case. It's just well balanced. In my full review, I mentioned there was a little bit of wander from that front. I'm not sure if it's the tire or not, but that was the only real complaint I had. And I'm not sure whether that's just me doing something wrong. Now, as you can see here, my kind of seat to peg ratio at a 32-inch inseam is fairly folded up. I find on my WR, because it's got a taller seat still, I'm a little bit more stretched out. So I just found that peg to seat ratio a little bit shorter than I perhaps expected, but certainly well within reason and an overall comfortable seating position. The other thing, of course, the important thing if you're doing some real adventure riding is you want to stand up on the pegs. And I find, again, at 180 centimeters and with a 32-inch inseam, the KLR650, this new 2021 model, is fairly ideal. As you can see here, and hopefully I don't fall, I'm standing on the pegs. I can get my hands on the grips very, very easily. I do need to move back a little bit to grasp onto the seat, because that's an easier section of the bike to grasp. Otherwise, if you're a little bit further forward where you're not holding as tightly with your knees and you're getting your weight a little bit more forward again, it does allow you to do that very easily without kind of having way too much input on those handlebars, keeping the handlebars nice and light, which makes things simple. So as far as that on the ergonomic side of things, I'm quite impressed. The seat height is good for me, but obviously if you're much shorter, it might be an issue. The reach to the bars is perfect. The wind protection is good. My only complaint about the wind protection is it was catching the peak of my helmet, which is removable, so I was taking that off on the freeway. And otherwise, I found it a very, very easy bike to jump onto. The one area that is somewhat annoying, but comes with the territory, as you just heard, I was actually trying to get off and not kick the panniers, but I did it anyway. With the panniers, there's a lot of width on the back of the bike and they're a little bit taller than the seat, and unless you're really throwing your leg up high, you will be kicking these, but they're not painted or anything like that, and really that the plastic should just be washed and it should be fine long term. They're not a super fancy pannier, which is better if you ask me, because you won't feel like you need to replace any paint panels or anything like that when you kick them. There's also a plate on the back for a top box, and if you're considering adding something like that, that might come into it, but it's not really an ergonomics thing, so I won't go into it too much more. These bikes here in Australia are 10.3 or 11.3 for the adventure on the road right away. I reckon that's great value. You can check out my full review for a more in-depth look, but that's it for now. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments, and as always, stay safe out there.